terms of things, we've got 2 videos based on playing the alpha up. We've also got, just a little bit earlier today, the Holly Longdale interview, which was fun. I made the decision to not really ask her about minutiae of War Within, because, I mean, if I'm doing that, I should probably, you know, do it with like Ian or like someone who's more like on the day-to-day dev side. So I thought like, okay, well, probably second most senior person working on the franchise. Let's ask about where the franchise is going. I thought it was I was really happy with the interview.
That's a good call. I haven't seen it yet because I was setting up stream when the video went live. So I'm like, I look forward to finding out what's in it. Yeah,
no, it's a good interview. She mentions an RTS.
An RTS?
Yeah, well, she
like, are we talking like an actual RTS
Warcraft
game?
3 Reforged and the RTS side of the business.
Oh, what
so
RTS side of the business?
Yeah, which one? But maybe that suggests that she does have the odd meaning about that too. But I thought it was, I thought it was really good. It was fun. So there's, that, I guess the way that all this went down is there was an alpha build. We had press stations, and we were also able to get Matt a press account because there are some other people who were not at the event, but like they weren't there physically, but they were doing it remotely, so we're able to get Matt access. And as of right now, I have alpha access, you have alpha access, and
our whole team, more or less.
Thank God.
Yep. Yeah, all the boys were on. All the boys were on late last night.
It's one of those things where it's like, I mean, is there a streamer privilege thing there? I mean, yeah, obviously. Yes, there is. But the other side of that is for us, it is genuinely a useful production thing. So I think that's a case where Blizzard knows that if they just flag, if they flag a few more accounts, then, that's kind of good for everybody, really. Gets more content out there. And one of the things they like with streamers and stuff doing content is, it's you flag a handful of accounts. It turns into thousands of people seeing the new thing. So it makes a lot of sense for them, but they will be rolling out more and more and more alpha slots. I don't know specific numbers. I know that usually there's like a selection bias thing where obviously the people playing alpha that you see are usually on Twitch. So it kind of looks like everybody who's playing the alpha is on Twitch. For the most part though, at least from what I know of past alphas, like the content and press people are always pretty handily outnumbered by the people who have essentially just been randomly flagged through the usual process. But definitely go to your account settings if you actually do want to get access and flag yourself. Not flag yourself for the alpha, but opt in to the, don't know what to call it, because it's not a wait list, it's more of a lottery thing.
Yeah, you put yourself in the pot and they draw from the pot at random outside of specific flags for specific reasons. That's one of the things you say there about people actually being outnumbered by people who aren't visible online is maybe the way I'll put it. But yeah, I logged into alpha fairly late afternoon up last night and I was shocked. The Stormwind and Org were both full. They were both absolutely jammed. Yeah. I actually decided not to go forward and do the questing again because I'd already done it in the press alpha event, so we'll do it again later when there's less people. Because you just go and there's one Nerubian for 700 people. Not quite to that degree. That's hyperbole, of course, but it was pretty kind of heavy with people. And Ian actually said specifically in the Wowcast, I don't remember them ever saying this quite so openly, but he's the goal is to get a lot of people and a lot of feedback week after week after week, and they're going to keep sending waves of invite every time they basically get a chance to. So that's pretty interesting. I think they're clearly we knew it with Dragonflight, right? But very specifically, this is very much a heavy, both qualitative and quantitative feedback based Blizzard. They are super happy. One of the things was actually interesting. We'll talk because I know there's a couple of things in our stream talk, but I don't know if we got to cover everything before the stream went live. So what I'll talk about is, have you seen the Mr. GM interview with Holly?
I have not seen it, no.
Right. Well, she said in that specifically, she was talking about how they're a little bit more data driven now and how she said basically they started recently enough to categorize players by behavior. Yeah. And super pay attention to what categories are doing what, when they're playing what they're playing, etc. And it made them realize that she called them casuals and midcore, which is midcore being
we talked about that as well, and the formation of the live team that's led by Jeremy Fiesel.
Yeah, the experimental team. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that they've changed, where they're now looking at actual, and you can see this in like the Warband feature. You can see this in basically all the features in alpha. You go, oh, they actually stopped to think about who they're serving, and they looked at data, and it's clear like they now want substantially more of that. That I want to go, everyone get in here, pile in, break this shit, and tell us what you want. What
was very clear to me is that they are very much focused on growing.
Yeah.
Like I think the way to put it is Holly seemed hungry for growth. And I suppose I mean Holly seemed in an aggressive posture. Now that's obviously she's the complete opposite in person. She is so nice, but like aggressive with wow.
Yeah, she wasn't squaring up to Michael. Be like, come on, dickhead, fucking have that day, like.
Yeah. So she was like properly focused on growing it. Serving more people, was pretty clear in understanding that yes, casual and mid-core have been basically underserved for a long ass time. It was interesting. She was, pretty happy to talk about the things that didn't go well. Plunderstorm did go really well though. Really, really well. So like by the numbers, Plunderstorm ended up being pretty large success. That said, she was also saying, and we always knew that a lot of people would kind of not like Plunderstorm, or maybe kind of hate it. And the way she talked about it was funny. She almost said like, oh yeah, I know, a battle royale in WoW in current year, lol. Like that was clearly in her head. But the point is they tested it. It was fun. They launched it. They did the same with Mop Remix, which of course has got a far more broad catchment of people. I guess it's just that kind of aggression, hunger to grow the brand. It seems they were weird with risk in the past, because it's like they just took very bizarre risks, big design risks on ultimately things that are a small part of the experience but essential, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, they were walking around planting bombs in their game where there's no need to have bombs. It's this is fine. Why did you stick a nuke in the middle of Shadowlands endgame?
Yeah, it wasn't really giving us a new reason to play.
Yeah, it was giving us a reason not to more than anything else, which was like that's the Shadowlands legendaries in a nutshell. Or
those were silly business.
Yeah, like the BFA Azerite grind. That was just like, hey, here's the Azerite grind, but we've taken all the feedback from Legion on board and gutted it before it starts. And you go, well, people enjoyed the Legion artifact grind to a bit, or maybe they didn't enjoy it. Maybe that's not the right term, but people were like, it was engaging enough, right? Because it mattered. And then they kind of gutted it for BFA, and it's like, oh, well, sorry, we probably shouldn't have done that, but now we've sort of done it and removed the good part of it. Whoops.
Yeah, it was just a lot of like not particularly ambitious sort of tap dancing around the same thing for ages. Yeah, rather than actually, trying to more properly change the game. I think you look at the alt stuff with warbands, even just the UI of sending currencies to your alts in a way that means they don't need to go and build an NPC to do it, and build an item that you then mail to yourself.
And then tax on it, of course.
Yeah.